Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Martin Canning hits back at Neil Lennon. Rangers get ready for stormy AGM. St Mirren back on top of the Championship. Yep, just a few of the talking points we'll be discussing tonight. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. It's Wednesday, and as you can see, the contrast, it's like a before and after picture of someone who played football and someone who gave it up a long time ago. Barry Ferguson is with us here in the studio, ready for a lot to talk about. Let's have a look at the back page headlines to see what dominated. And in the Daily Record, first of all, malicious. This is Kenny Miller heading back at how he was ostracised by Pedro Caixinha and made to feel like the villain, or at least the man who was releasing stuff to the press. You could have finished Moose. This is Chris Davis, the Celtic assistant, talking about that tackle on Moussa Dembele by Cedric Kipre. The Sun, again, talking about that tackle from Kipre on Moussa Dembele, and at the top there, end the record and ease the pain. This is Stephen Robinson suggesting Motherwell should bounce back tonight at Fir Park and end this 65-game unbeaten record that Celtic are on. And as you can see, the Mail there, hung out to dry, reference to Kenny Miller. Thought his career at Ibrox was over as he was left out of the squad. And there's the Courier with a great photograph there of the Manchester United players celebrating after eventually coming out on top by 4-2 against Watford. It looked as if they were cruising, and then Watford staged a fight back. We'll talk about that and look back at the Championship results from last night in Scotland and the Premier League in England as well. So let's first of all talk about Kenny Miller, because there was always going to be a point, Barry, where your old teammate was going to come out and give his side of this whole fallout with Pedro Caixinha. He thought it was malicious. I think he feels as if he was vilified as the man who was obviously leaking things, which again, you defended him. He thought his career was over. Had he watched this show, he'd have known. We mentioned that we thought he'd be there long after Caixinha was gone. Yeah,
I thought that. I was wondering how long it was going to take Kenny to come out and actually say what his feelings were. I thought during the time when he was left out of the team, he handled himself well. As he says, he trained hard and he went down to Brentford and played in the under-20 game. So I'm glad he's come out and actually said. I did at the time, he said on this show, I felt sorry for him. I've known Kenny a long time, as I'd mentioned, and he's not that type of character. And only Pedro Caixinha could have come out and says exactly why he done it and what was his reasons. I found it strange at the time, but I'm just glad he's come back into the Rangers team, and obviously the first game he made an instant impact with scoring 2 goals.
Yeah. Did you have an element of deja vu on this one? Because he could have ended his career with a situation, you know, where there's a stain on his character, because you had a similar situation yourself.
Yeah, it's always a worry. That was a worry at the back of my mind, going back when I had the problems with Paul Le Guen. There's some similar things. He never came out and actually said why he done it. Obviously I had my say a few months after he'd left the club, and it's similar what Kenny's come out and done. But I'm just glad it's over. I always thought that Kenny would outstay Pedro Caixinha anyway, because it wasn't going very well for him. So I'm glad it's sorted. I'm glad he's come out and actually says a bit about it, and he's put it to bed now.
Yeah, not too far away from kick-off, obviously, for Rangers against Aberdeen, and there's been all sorts of talk about Rangers bouncing back, being up for this one. Kenny Miller himself talking yesterday said, you know, the time for talking is almost over. It's about doing it on the pitch.
The game plan kind of worked that day. I mean, we were a bit backs against the wall, particularly in the second half of that game, but we got goals. I mean, goals change games. It's as simple as that. If you get goals at the right time, I mean, we could have won 4 or 5 at the end of that game, but it was never a 3-0 game either. So it's just important that we do the right things. We make good decisions on the night. We find, again, something I've said all along, we need to find a level of consistency. This is why we are where we are at the moment, that we've never put any kind of runs together. We win 2 games, it's like there's I wouldn't say a complacency, but there's like a feeling, relief that we've managed to put a couple of runs, results together, and then the next, well, you've seen what's happened the last 2 games. The performances have not been anywhere near as good as what they have. So we need to correct that, and I've said it all along. I'm bored saying it, actually. Really bored saying levels of consistency and performance and the same old nonsense every week, but that is the facts.
Well, any time there's any kind of controversy at Rangers, or their backs are against the wall, they roll out Kenny Miller, which kind of puts him behind the 8 ball when the results go against him. But he's the most sensible one there to come out and know exactly how to conduct himself as a Rangers player.
Yeah, he certainly does. It's unfortunate there's others there who don't, and he's hit it in the head there, consistency, because the first half against Dundee, I thought they were okay. I thought they were reasonable, but the consistency level dropped in the second half, and then we keep touching on it. I think it's because there's certain players in the team don't know how to handle wearing the Rangers jersey. They don't know how to react when things aren't going against them. Nobody's there to sort of group them together and haul them out of a situation, because after they get into the situation, it doesn't get any better, it just gets worse, as we saw against Dundee. So they've got a difficult one tonight, because Aberdeen are obviously a better side than Dundee, and you would expect them to get chances. So it depends how they all get together.
Yeah, and of course the interim manager is still Graham Murty, but despite the defeats, Kenny Miller said you shouldn't be making excuses about it being a short-term manager in place.
These things happen in football. I've experienced it many times. It's important that whoever's in charge, whether it be an interim man or whether it be a full-time manager, that you give everything to the cause. The lads are trying. We've not really seen that transmitting to the performances of the last couple of games, but like I said, it's a huge game for us tomorrow at home against an old rival. These games take on an extra little bit of significance. Defend better, attack better. We need to be together more, there's no doubt about it. Everybody needs to be on the same page on the game plan and execute it. That's at the moment we're not carrying out the instruction to the best of our ability. I think there's a lot more in the group, albeit we're not showing it. So we pretty much need to be better on all aspects of the game.
If they don't win the game, suddenly the AGM becomes even stormier, if that's humanly possible, because this AGM tomorrow, Barry, I think it could be one of the stormiest for this board.
I don't think it'll matter with the result if Rangers win tonight, which I think they've got to win no matter whatever way they do it. I don't really care. They have got to win this game, but I don't think it'll matter one single bit. The board need to answer questions. What's going on behind the scenes, why there's not been a new manager been brought in, and various other things. So I think it's going to be a stormy one. Yeah.
What other questions do you think would you like if you were sitting there and you had to say, right, I've got the platform here?
But obviously, to be fair to the board, I've said they've done a good job in terms of they took the club on and get rid of your likes of Charles Green and all that. All these sort of guys. They gave the manager in the summer, to be fair to them, £10 million in transfer fees, and then you put on top of that wages as well. So it's a lot of money they've outlaid. So my only worry would be for a new manager coming in, what sort of finances has he got to go and strengthen that team? Because I believe it needs strengthened. I believe there's a lot of players there that just aren't doing it just now.
Yeah. That's going to cost money to get them out. Can I go back to your point there? You said they gave the manager a lot of money. Do you not think whoever was making the decisions at that time made a mistake in appointing that manager, because his pedigree was already in question by the time he actually sat there?
It's been proved, Peter, he never done well when he came in. I had my question marks when they decided to bring a Pedro Coutinho in. I says before, when Warburton left, they had the guy that I've said many a times that I think should be given a chance, and that's a Derek McInnes. It looks as if that's not going to happen now. And then I thought they would have maybe went down, maybe go back for an Alec McLeish or whatever, but they went left wing and brought in a guy nobody had known. He didn't know much about Scottish football. He brought in a lot of guys from Mexico, Portuguese guys as well, and it's not really happened for them. So I think that's a question that the fans will want answered.
Yeah. Over and above that, Ruffy, I think a lot of people will look and say, okay, what calibre of manager are you going to get in? What kind of money, as Barry mentioned there, are you going to have at your disposal? Because a lot of fans are now getting to that point where they're thinking, are we going to be capable of stopping Celtic you know, get to 10 in a row. It's all right bringing in a manager, but you need to back him financially. I don't know if they've got the money for that. Do they? I think the bigger question is there an investor somewhere?
Yeah, I think the biggest questions tomorrow will be finance. You know, I think it will be, you know, like the supporters again have put the money in, big time, bought the season tickets. And I think the question will be asked, if we keep piling our money in, why do we keep getting soft loans? Why do we always seem to be chasing it, you know, rather than having money? And somebody will have to be accountable for the figures. And obviously when you see the figures, I think you'll get a shock, you know, at the wages that some of the players that are on.
Yeah, well, not only the wages of the players, but I think some questions will be asked about, you know, money being taken out in other positions. There's a lot of people who've got questions to answer, who's getting paid what right across the board and how efficient they are. Rangers fans, I don't think we'll miss the mark on this one. Join us after the break. We'll start to look at other questions. Motherwell Celtic for one. Close but no cigar on this occasion. One question down, two still to come. Alan Ruff and Barry Ferguson are with me here on the programme. Let me, before we move on to Motherwell against Celtic, take two and take three at the weekend as well, I've got to ask you this question. There's been 1,000,001 ex-Rangers players all talking about the need to, you know, I've heard something, your brother mentioned they should go back for Walter and Graham Souness to try and alter things, which, you know, I'm not going to be two-faced about it, which we leathered them and kicked it right out of the park, because I think it needs somebody maybe with a fresh view on Rangers. If you were asked by a manager or somebody to come in there and go and join that, is that something you'd be interested in? Would you? Do you think you could do something for them?
If a manager get appointed and he asked me to go in and work,
yes,
well, of course I would. It's a place that's close to my heart, and I grew up supporting as a young kid, and I was lucky enough to play and captain them. So it is a club that I always look out for, and if you get asked or if you do get the opportunity, then certainly you've got to consider it.
Now, on that point, do you think that right now, if they're going to appoint somebody, it needs to have, you know, that home base feel about it? It needs to put together a new, fresh team. Does it need to have a fresh team of people who understand what Rangers are about, you know, but can, you know, move with the times here?
Yeah, Peter, I just don't think it's only for the first team. I think right through the club. I'm talking about football-wise. I've said plenty of times before, I think it's somebody that gets that job needs to know what the club's all about, the traditions of the club, what it's built on, the expectations. It's got to be somebody that knows it for me.
Do you have that name?
I gave you the name on the show plenty of times, Derek McInnes,
yeah.
But I don't, it looks to me if that's not going to happen. Still, if that doesn't happen, which I'm not totally convinced that it's over, they still need to go and get somebody who has a connection, who's either been there before or played or has some sort of connection with the club.
Yeah. Is there a burning desire for you though, if there's a role there, you're in?
Yeah, of course you've got to get asked. I mean, when I went in and spoke to the last manager, if I'm being honest, I came out, I wasn't totally convinced. We didn't agree on quite a number of things, but listen, I came out of that hoping that he would be a success, and I wanted him to be a success. I mean, I heard a lot of people saying, when I did have a go, I was just my honest opinion about what was happening at Rangers at the time. People saying it was bad blood. No, I want Rangers to do well, no matter who's in charge. I just didn't think he was the right man for the job.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
Okay.
But they need to get this one right. They need to get this one correct. I think this is their last go, because Celtic, for me, are miles ahead of Rangers at this moment in time.
And if they don't, do you see just constantly mediocrity?
Yep. I do think there's good players at Rangers, but I think they need help. And in the terms of the pressures that's needed to play at a club like that, I feel some of the players, you look for instance at the Hamilton game, they go a goal down, and you're expecting, for me, a Rangers player is to show a bit of grit about them, to go and get the ball and do it. I feel some players are hiding. It's not their fault, they need help. And perfect example on Friday night, they get the equaliser against Dundee, and then at that time I'm fully expecting Rangers to go on and win the game by a goal or 2 goals. And Dundee come into the game and win the game. They get that goal and they come away without any points at all. That needs sorted, and players in there need help. But there are good players there.
Yeah, well, in the last week, of course, all that talk about Derek McInnes finally put to bed by the chairman and then reiterated by the manager. Of course, Mark Reynolds, one of the players at Aberdeen, says all that talk hadn't affected any of the first team squad.
We've never really bothered with the speculation. I think we've been lucky enough that we've been at a club that's been successful for the last few years, and we've had players with the manager being successful. There's always that speculation there. And it's never really getting into the changing room. It's never really affected the way we work. It's never affected the way the manager works. It's never, as I say, it's never come into this changing room, come into the stadium for that. So to be put to bed for you guys, for the fans, is great. But for us, it was never an issue to start with, so it's never really affected us. And as I say, it's kind of irrelevant for us that it has been put to bed.
Okay, so everything seems rosy again in the garden for Aberdeen. As far as Motherwell Celtic, of course, tomorrow night on the programme we'll hear from Brendan Rodgers and Stephen Robinson after take 2, and then the third episode will be at the weekend as well, Celtic against Motherwell. Just one thing that obviously would worry a number of Celtic fans is Moussa Dembele. That tackle from Cedric Kipre caused him a problem, and he's struggling to try and get ready for the game against Anderlecht on December the 5th, as Chris Davis highlighted.
He got a bad knock there, a bad sort of twist of the ankle. So thankfully it's not what it could have been, which is a long-term one. Well, he was limping around after it. If you saw it, I mean, the more you watch it back in the replays, the worse it gets. But he was limping around, but he's luckily quite robust physically, and he got away with it. It's likely he will be. We just have to see how he responds. Obviously, he's swollen and sore, so we just have to see how he responds. But like I say, he's a robust lad, and in the next few days we will find out.
Yeah, quite a lot of the playing staff, the coaching staff would have been, gasping at that. But I think the boardroom might have been gasping more than anyone else, Ruffy, because that could have been one of those injuries that put him out for a long time. Yeah,
it looked bad when you see it again on the television. It looked bad. I don't think for a minute the boy went to do that deliberately. I think his foot actually rode on the top of the ball, and that took him into his foot or his ankle or whatever it was. But when you see it on the television, it was horrendous, and it did look as if it could have been quite easily been a break. But fortunately, it wasn't, and I'm sure he'll be back as soon as he can.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, we will get the afterthoughts of the managers after that match between Motherwell and Celtic. Just with the last Champions League match in mind, I'm not quite sure sometimes if some quotes get lost in translation, Barry, but this one, I had to read it 2 or 3 times, because sometimes when you read something, you think maybe there's a bit of translation loss on this, or it's been misinterpreted, Ruffy. I'm not quite sure how he's going to twist this one. This is Anderlecht legend Paul van Himst. You remember him, don't you?
Yeah, he played against us, and I think it was European qualifiers with Belgium, and I think he did score a couple of times. But yeah, he was a big player for them.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with Celtic's win over there in Belgium, Ruffy. So he's basically said, and I'm translating, I'm quoting it exactly the way it's been quoted here. We should never have allowed ourselves to lose to a team of peasants like Celtic. Now, I'm hoping that peasants can somehow be translated or transferred into a nicer word, but he then says they were a bunch of woodcutters. It was one of the worst matches ever in Europe, and we didn't even muster an attack. Under Rennie Weiler, we just went backwards. So I don't think Paul will be coming to Scotland with the party. If he is coming with the Belgian team, then I think he might be in for a rough ride as well. I mean, why would you open your gob before the match day 6 and just, you know, throw petrol on the fire?
I don't know. Who did he open his gob to? Was it a local people? Local?
Yeah. What does it matter?
No, I know.
What does it matter? You know, it could have been a school class who was asking him about it. He still said it, Ruffy. I mean, it's just lunacy.
There's no evidence that Celtic players don't go down woodcutting anywhere, so we'd have to just take his word for that.
These are the type of quotes. These are the type of quotes. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. We'll just leather him out of the park. I'm not going to, because he's not well at the moment, and we're still trying to change the titles to the Peter and Fergie show. I know it's in your contract.
That won't wind Celtic up.
What?
That won't wind Celtic up.
Not at home. I mean, they're that. And no disrespect, but let's cut straight to this one. That's the level where Celtic are. They're hoping to be in the Europa League. They should take Anderlecht at home. Ruffy's right. I mean, do things like that get the players G'd up?
They'll obviously read it because they read newspapers and they'll see the quotes and they'll laugh it off. Celtic are a better team than Anderlecht. There's no doubt in my mind. They deserve to win over there 3-0, and I think they'll beat Anderlecht convincingly at Celtic Park next week. Yeah.
Is there anybody that said something about you that you read, you thought, oof, I'll have him?
I can't say on air.
Was it a cracker?
Plenty of things. Plenty of things.
No point in asking you, you know, I mean...
I wouldn't have listened anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. What a lot of people don't know, Ruffy, and this is the big thing about it, because we're getting to the Christmas season and the end of the year, everybody's getting ready for the big end of season Peter and Ruffy party, and Barry, Ruffy's thinking about pulling out.
No, I know. I was
outrageous.
I was disappointed when he came in and he's thinking about no going on Saturday. I was looking forward to having a good night with him, but it looks as if he is going to turn up, but he's not eating or drinking. So
yeah,
well, I don't know about drinking.
No, you say he's only going to eat or
well,
drink.
that's moment in time, yeah, but we're 3 days
Absolutely.
away.
I'm just going to tell you, that's the kind of team player Ruffy is. Have a think about that in the break. Which only leaves one question left. 1993, did you get that? Thanks to everyone for sending us messages at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. So many people just sending us messages there saying they are available for the staff party, Christmas party, if Ruffy doesn't turn up. Footballers, ex-footballers, the lot, Ruffy, they're all clamouring. It's as simple as that.
It's a great night. Brilliant night. It just depends who you're sitting to.
Yeah, just out of curiosity. Yeah, how true is that? Because that's what everybody's got as a dilemma for a staff party if you're sitting next to somebody who's completely boring. You know, Ruffy, just out of curiosity. You're a bad man. That'll get back to him.
He knows I'm only
That'll get back to him. Can I just say to you, what would be your karaoke song if you were going to sing one?
You've got a friend. That's the only song I know.
Oh, that's fantastic. That'll put us on a real high.
I don't like karaoke. They freak me out. They freak me out.
Is that right? You don't do any of these things? Right, okay then. I hope I'm not sitting next to him. Let's crack on. Hamilton boss. I love football stories like this, because as soon as somebody has a rant, and Neil Lennon has won 2017's after-match rant of the year. It's up there. Nobody's going to beat it. But Martin Canning's kind of had a wee hit back at him and said, you know, there's no way he would get involved in having a go at any of opposition players, their tactics. I mean, Neil Lennon accused his side of, you know, being a it was caveman football. Yeah. So Martin's had a wee go back saying he was probably frustrated that he didn't get the result he wanted, but I wouldn't make a comment on my own team or the referee if I felt a decision went against us, or indeed any other team.
But I think Neil's already come out and said, look, he was a wee bit out of order, caught him at the wrong time, and the frustration of what happened at the end of the game. But it just shows you that all managers are different.
Yeah.
You know, every individual is different. Everybody reacts different to different things, and you've just got to accept that some people have got a short fuse. And the good thing about Neil Lennon is I like it when he says it as it is. You know, you either take it on board or you just throw it on the back burner, but he certainly, from a Hibs supporter, what you're seeing is what you get, you know, and I think it's good when a manager comes out and actually shows everybody he's actually hurting.
My only problem with it, Ruffy, is Neil seems to pick managers that are either built like brick walls or are substantially physically taller and stronger than him. You know, the last one was Jim Duffy and this one's Martin Canning. It's not exactly a fair fight, is it?
Yeah, but he's obviously waited and done the press conference first and then scaddled out the door before Martin got in.
Well, you were at the game. So, did they play like a bunch of cavemen?
No, do you know what I think it is? I thought Hibs were great, certainly in the first half. I mean, they should have been out of sight 3 or 4 goals. They just couldn't get that second goal, and I just think it's frustration for Neil Lennon. There was a few feisty challenges going in, but that's what happens. That's what football's all about. And obviously, AstroTurf boys maybe slip a bit more, or maybe they're scared to get into a challenge. But Hibs were great. I was really impressed with them. Certainly the midfield trio, again, for me, were outstanding. I just think it's born out of frustration because they should have won the game.
Do you think, and again this comes with sometimes a lack of quality in the game, I think we're on a curve which is just slowly, we're coming out of it, and we're trying to promote skillful players, we're trying to develop younger players to get regular football, but are we at a point where, you know, maybe the game's a wee bit too physical, a bit too rough at the moment?
No, that's what football is. It's a man's game. I don't mind meaty challenges getting in, and sometimes somebody's going to be a bit late, but that's the nature of football. I don't mind that at all. I think that's what's missing. I like that. I like that.
Was there a player that you looked at on your side and you thought, "Oh, I'll have him. He's in my team. I'm delighted at that."
Probably the one I would mention with Craig Moore. He was dirty.
Yeah.
Fair.
Fair but dusty.
He was. He could put in a fair challenge. I wouldn't have liked to have played against him.
Yeah. Ruffy?
Too
rough?
No, it has to be Graham Souness for me.
Yeah.
Just a leader, you know, and he got his tackle in first before he could retaliate.
I was just about to say that's tomorrow's question. Who's the guy that he got on the halfway line at Ibrox? I think it was a Steaua Bucharest player. I might be wrong in a European game where the tackle started at his hip and then walked away. I think he only got a yellow card for it, Ruffy. I'm not going to argue with you on that. Okay, you can give us your view at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Championship, St Mirren hit the top, 3-1 win over Livingston. Here's how it all fits into the matches that were played last night, and Jack Ross will be well and truly delighted with it. St Mirren 3, Livingston 1. Elsewhere, John Robertson's side with a good 4-0 win over Brecon City, something that Dundee United couldn't do at the weekend, but Robbo's team back on track after losing to St Mirren, and Dumbarton and Queen of the South couldn't be separated. It finished 2-2. So the Saints looking good again, top of the table. This is not as clear cut as we thought it was going to be. Scott McDonald's in here, you know, just over a week ago saying Laszlo's good, training's good, well organised. Look at that table. St Mirren are making a real battle of it.
Yeah, listen, I fancied Dundee United at the start of the season simply with a budget. They've got by far the biggest budget in that league, but fair play to Ross Jack since he's come out to St Mirren. He struggled at the start, but now he's got away playing, the players are buying into it, and he's got some good young players as well, and a mixture of young and experienced ones. Yeah. So it's a tight league that. There's maybe 3 or 4 teams. I mean, you just need to look at Falkirk last year. Ruffy's favourites to go up.
Yeah.
They're struggling.
Well done, Baz.
Inverness Cali come down for the Premier League. You expect him to be up there. So I think it'll go down to Dundee United and St Mirren. But at this moment in time, St Mirren are flying high.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's take a longer look at that table. You'd need to have been really, really quick to get a look at it. But as you can see, Ruffy, as far as the Championship is concerned, it's St Mirren out in front by 2 points. Everybody's played their 14 games. Dundee United, Livingston. I think David Hopkin had a wee pop at Jack Ross last night. Said he celebrated like I think it was a schoolboy after one of the goals went in. But nevertheless, it was a big call for them. Dunfermline, just slowly but surely, that's a 6-point gap between them and St Mirren now.
Yeah, but I don't think that's very much in the Championship. I think they're all that top 5. Would all believe that at home they could all beat each other, and I think that will be the case. I don't see anybody running away with it at all. I know Dundee United get a couple of good wins there, but that was a bad one at the weekend. So no, I think it will be quite encouraging that even the teams below the top 6 will feel as if they could beat them.
Now, here's a good point about it. Jack Ross mentioned there that he's hoping they can hold on to Lewis Morgan until the summer. He can talk to anybody in January, you know, but he's hoping he can hold on to him. He's trying maybe to get Stevie Mallon back on loan. I mean, he hasn't kicked a ball down south, which I just think is
I'm surprised at
waste.
That. I liked him. He was a good player. And the boy Morgan, you're saying as well, I know there's a lot of interest in him. I think it'd be better for the boy to stay until the end of the season. He's playing week in, week out, and he's doing really well. So I think it'd be crazy for him to move in January. I don't like the January window really. So it's important that at a young age that you're playing week in, week out, and he's certainly doing that at St Mirren.
I know you don't like it, but you better get to like it, because Rangers might have to actually delve into the market in January.
No, I know it's a hard market, because the players that become available are not playing at their teams.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's generally what happens. Their match fitness is a problem as well, because I've not played much, so that's the reason why I don't like it. But sometimes you can be lucky and pick up somebody decent.
Yeah, I'm amazed at Stevie Mallon. I just think, you know, I'm not amazed in some ways, because sometimes down south, you know, players of his quality in the middle of the park get missed out, because I've watched Championship games, League One games. Sometimes, you know, the ball should have a flight path, Ruffy.
Yeah, and I think obviously sometimes some of the younger players, you know, they see it's a good price. You know, it's a price that's not going to hurt them, so they just take him. You know, take him down there and hope that he just progresses. But if you don't get a chance to play, then you're not going to get a chance to progress. So maybe it's unfortunate. Maybe the manager has just went another way or whatever. But we all know how good he is. He can still do something. It's a good side. Yeah.
Okay, just one wee thing before the break, Barry. I still think my old pal Robbo will get Inverness into the playoffs. Yeah,
I mean, he had a terrible start. I mean, he had a difficult start, but listen, slowly but surely he's getting them back on track, and they're starting to pick up good results, and they're starting to climb that league. Because they were in, I don't know how long they were in the Premier League, but they are a Premier League club. They've got always liked getting up there to play. Yeah. Always made feel welcome up there. It was always difficult games, but I'm sure he'll do a fine job up there. Yeah. Did you ever stay beyond that for the Johnny Foxes? That's just I just thought I'd ask, just out of curiosity. Such a fantastic, we had a great time up in Inverness, didn't we, Ruffy?
Did we?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
But
when I did play up there, quite a lot of my mates would go up on the Friday night. Yeah. And what, your teammates or just your mates? Well, sometimes it looked if we were out on the Friday night. Absolutely. Okay, as you can see, Ruffy is absolutely no fun on the programme tonight. No matter what he asks him, he's just not in the mood. We'll see if we can get him in the mood after the break. It's so easy when there's a Liverpool
clue in there, Ruffy. I just always nail it if there's a Liverpool one in there. You know, when you're a boy and you've got them as your favourite English team, you can't fail.
Yeah, I saw a highlights of the Liverpool game on the telly there, and the different even going way back to maybe Barry or like Ian Callaghan's time.
Yes.
I mean, Ian Callaghan was spraying the ball left, right, and centre.
Ian Callaghan's time cut across almost 3 decades, though.
Yeah,
Ruffy.
it was fantastic.
I like Keegan. Barry hasn't heard this story, but you nutmegged Keegan in a home international, Scotland against England.
Yep.
But
What
you've
year
never
was
done
that?
I was in '79 at Hampden.
Oh, I was 1 at that stage.
1 high.
Yeah, tell him what happened, Ruffy.
What happened was that we were obviously trying to defend our lead, and we'd pushed up, and Trevor Booking had played a pass for the halfway line to Keegan, who'd went on a diagonal, and I noticed the linesman had put his flag up, so I knew it was offside. So I come charging about 30 yards at the box. He never saw it, but I got there before him. But I knew the linesman had put his flag up, so when he came running in, I nutmegged him, and the referee said play on. By that time I was
That's
5.
more like him.
Oh, that's the old
that's
Ruffy. He's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're talking about him, Barry. That's why he's back.
Right. Got you.
So, nutmegging Kevin Keegan. Any good nutmegs for you? Was there one that you just thoroughly enjoyed? You thought, oh, magic.
Oh, I can't think of offhand.
Yeah. Would you do it in an Old Firm game?
Yeah, if you're a few goals up,
Yeah.
maybe 5 minutes to go, you know the game's over.
Yeah.
Maybe try a cheeky one.
Yeah. Okay, but not 5 minutes into it, or,
No.
or Walter would give you pelters.
No chance.
Just out of curiosity, we're talking now. Just a couple of things. Give me your thoughts on it,
Okay.
Ruffy. I read that quite a few Premier League teams are looking at Liam Lindsay. He was at Partick Thistle, and he's at Barnsley now. Is he the type of player that maybe, as he develops, could be one of those guys that solves that centre half problem?
Well, I thought Partick Thistle did particularly well getting the money that they got. You know, I still think he was a wee bit raw, as you would expect, but certainly going down to that championship, I'll certainly harden him up. I haven't had the chance to see him down there, but certainly if people are talking about him and Premier League teams are talking about him, he must be doing particularly well. And I'm absolutely astounded that he's not even been in an under-21 side.
Yeah.
You know, for a start. So that obviously that's somewhere he wants to be, you know, to start moving up the ladder.
And he didn't even come through Scotland's pro youth setup as well. I think some people are keen to emphasise that as well.
That just shows you how sometimes people just miss it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, a couple of things down south that I thought caught my eye. We were always talking about Rangers haven't got a manager, Everton haven't got a manager. Now they have. Sam Allardyce, £6 million a year. He's the man. He's almost like there was a guy that used to be able to put out oil rig fires, Red Adair. You know, he was famed throughout the world. They just hired him. He was from Texas, and he stopped any major fires in buildings and oil rigs, you name it. That's not Red Adair, that's Sam Allardyce. What do you think about his appointment at Everton?
Yeah, listen, he's proven in the Premier League. I think that's his 7th Premier League club. He knows what he's doing. He's experienced, and it's a good club to go and manage. Great fan base, great stadium. Always enjoyed playing at Goodison Park, and they've got a bit of money behind them now. So I'd guess that he can go and splash the cash in January.
He's much maligned, and I think tagged as one of those long ball managers. I don't think that's fair.
Do you know, I've played against 2 or 3 of his teams. The West Ham team, when I was at Blackpool, they beat us in the playoff final at Wembley. They were a good footballing team. I mean, a lot of people think he's long ball, work off his second ball, but his West Ham team get the ball down and played. And I think when he was at Blackburn as well, played against them, his team always try to get the ball down and play. So it's a tag that's put against them. But when I've played against his teams, they've generally tried to play football and get the ball down.
Yeah, even his Bolton side, Ruffy. I mean, if I'm right, I think JJ Okocha was in it. He was full of tricks. I mean, they were a good side to watch.
Yeah, I think before he actually got the job, he was on Sky Sports a couple of weeks ago, and somebody was asking him, look, if you get back into a football team, what would be your 6 or 7 things you would try and enforce in the new club? And every point that he made was so relevant. You know, it was so easy, but you know, when you see it up there, you know, he actually knows, you know, what he's going to do at a new club when he goes in. Obviously, first one is stop losing goals, you know, and he's very good at that.
I just wonder in the back of his mind if he just it's painful, the whole England feeling. Here is a man who was passionate about his country. I think that still rankles with him in the back. Maybe this is the perfect club to prove a point, because it is, for me, Everton's a big club.
Yeah, well, they've already shelled out. I think it's 150. I'm sure the owners, he'll have a set figure that he'll want to spend in January, and I think again it'll be interesting in what kind of player he identifies to sort them out, because they are a team who are just all over the shop.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm looking at in the Premier League in England, Barry, is sometimes there's a fear of maybe going down a different route. I mean, Crystal Palace is a classic example. Yes, we want you to play good football on the deck, so they hire Frank de Boer 4 games into it. No, we really don't like that style of football. Bump, he's out the window, and in comes Roy Hodgson. There seems to be a certain bank of managers who are always being quoted and then get jobs. Alan Pardew is the new manager of West Brom.
Yeah, I know, but these managers are tried and trusted Premier League managers. And you're saying when Frank de Boer came into Crystal Palace, he played a total different game with what they were used to, and it never worked. And they've brought in Roy Hodgson, and they're starting to pick up and get results. And it's the same as West Brom. I think Tony Pulis will get a job, the next job that becomes available in the Premier League. I think he'll, because he done a good job for me at West Brom.
Yeah, I'm amazed he sacked him.
I know, I was surprised myself, but he'll get a job soon.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, and we all spoke about who the next manager of Rangers would be, and it just shows you why it wouldn't be any of these ones when they're on $6 million a year. You know, that's the kind of money that you're dealing with.
When I seen some of the people who were mentioned, like Alan Pardew and Sam Allardyce, there was never any chance that Rangers were going to be able to attract them up here, simply because the salaries down there are scary. $6 million a year, you're saying, Sam Allardyce, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but is he really happy? To be honest with you, $6 million a year, what would you do with that? Imagine going to the cash line, Ruffy, and not wondering about the 4 digits that you push in there. Fantastic. Hampden Park, we'll find out next week if they're going to host the opening Euro 2020 game. They're up against Amsterdam, Brussels, Rome and St Petersburg. It would be a timely boost for Hampden Park if they got the opening fixture. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just there for everybody to see. They do like that stadium. They like giving us big days, you know, Champions League, obviously big high-profile games. So they actually see something in the stadium. We all just want to see it revamped a wee bit and make it a wee bit more exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be painful for us on Friday, I might as well tell you. 1st of December, the World Cup draw. All the teams will be in the pot. We'll start to look at it and think what might have been, as will most of the home nations apart from England. As you can see here, Barry, it was something that I think was painful for you as well. You'd love to have been there at one major tournament.
Oh, that's one of my biggest regrets in terms of what you do in your career. Never got to a major championship, whether that be the Euros or the World Cup. But I know
it does. I mean, it gets boring after a while. I mean, you just keep continually going.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
Oh,
I knew it
honestly, 2018 is going to bring a change.
But I'm not too bothered to Scotland get. I'm more concerned about them getting a manager and getting the right guy in place.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm concerned
about. I just wonder if well, Michael will take his time. I think he's got quite a few options.
Yep.
One of them's not West Brom. The other one's not everton. So suddenly you're saying to yourself, is it a Rangers? Is it a Scotland? Could Rangers ghost in at the back post with this one and Michael O'Neill?
Yeah, I'm still always go back to the fact is I'd like a Scotsman as a Scotland manager.
Yeah.
I've said who I think I would go and choose would be Paul Lambert. Whether Paul Lambert wants to stay in club management, I know he'd been linked with Hull a month ago. I don't know what's happening there, but for me, I would like to see Paul Lambert. But listen, Michael O'Neill, what he's done with Northern Ireland has been great. Yeah.
I'm going to finish on a positive note, Ruffy. The UEFA president, Alexander Seferin, has announced that he'll pledge 1% of his salary to the common goal. This is, of course, Juan Mata and Jurgen Griesbeck put this together, asked players from around Europe, and it goes to help worthy causes. I think it's I mean, the money in the game now is incredible. I think it's a nice little touch from the UEFA president as well.
Yeah, and it's a thing that it's not out there in the open. There are a lot of players at a lot of clubs like Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal. They're actively doing it, you know, and helping countries, you know, who aren't as well off as us. So there are players out there who are doing it, and I'll full credit to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It creates a really good feeling around Christmas. Christmas, when people get together who like each other, teammates, it builds the team spirit, the camaraderie, the whole thing, which is why people are gobsmacked in their thousands, wondering why Ruffy just doesn't want to hang about with us at the Christmas party. Maybe it's because he's been to 3 World Cups and he feels that we are beneath him. Who knows the real reason? We'll let you know if he turns up or not. From Barry, good old Barry and myself, good night.